Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what I want to talk about is seed collecting. So if you really want to try and grow your garden cheaply, one of the best things you can do is collect your own seeds. Now there's some other advantage to it as well, in my opinion. Now I don't have this on scientific, study or anything of that nature, but it seems to me like the more you collect seeds from your garden, the more the plants that you grow will adapt to your environment, your soil structure, your garden. All right. And so with that being said, one of my biggest pushes is to make sure that I collect seeds from my own garden wherever possible, so that they can continue to adapt and become better and better products. Now with that being said, if you have a crappy crop, you may not want to collect seeds from that crop. But now my lettuce crop, for example, this is my lettuce, and you can see I've let it grow up, seed out, and then die back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and collect the seeds from this, because it's been a really good crop. I really like the lettuce that it produces, and so I want to continue to keep that seed bank going. And then next year, instead of having to buy lettuce seed, I'll have my own seed to plant. The other advantage to collecting your own seeds is because they're free. You don't have to be as cautious, I guess, with the amount of seeds you plant and where all you plant them. If I've got a whole bunch of seed that I got for free, I can throw it everywhere and hope for the best and see what happens. So now there's a couple ways to do this. One is to collect them. So with that being said, I've got a bowl here, and then what I want to do is I want to take these seed heads off and basically put them in a bowl. And let me show you how that works. Alright, so basically you got this plant here, and all along the top you're going to see these basically heads like this. Alright, good. And they're going to have on top of them little bulbs or little flowers. And they're going to have on top of them little flowers. And you can see the little flower heads there. And then you're just going to crumble those up into your bowl. Take the stems out, and what you're left with is a bunch of seed. So I just go ahead and start picking them off, crumbling them up, and taking as many of the seeds as I can possibly get. Now keep in mind, you want to make sure that this has basically completely matured. And the way you do that is by allowing it to basically get dead or close to dead, like you see here. You can tell this plant is pretty much done growing anything. It is dried out. And that's another thing, you don't really want wet seed heads. So you want to do this on a fairly dry day, so that you don't have really damp seeds. Now if you have a problem getting a dry day to do this with, then by all means go ahead and take the seed heads rather. You can put them in your bowl, take them in the house, and let them dry out in there. But I have found collecting other seeds in the past that it oftentimes is better to let them die on the vine than to bring them inside. It just seems to me to work out better. Now some crops, you can take the seed head and shake it off into a bag, and then they'll fall off once they're good and ripe. And then you can take the seeds and just kind of drop them like so and let the chaff fall away. The lettuce seed is a very fine seed, not very heavy, and I'm afraid if I do that, a ton of my seed will blow away. So you kind of got to use a little judgment on that. How strong is the wind? Is this something that I'm going to be able to do without losing most of my seeds from the wind blowing the seeds as well as the chaff away? And you can also sometimes grab a handful of seeds or whole seed head and just crush that up. Oop, got a little bug in there. But again, with the lettuce seed, I'm afraid that I'm not going to really be able to separate the chaff from the seeds as well, because the seeds are so fine. So I just go through, and I got the time, so I'll just go through here and slowly pick my way through, getting the heads that I think look the best. They look like they've got good solid seed to them. And collect that in the bowl. Now, if you just leave these plants alone, what will end up happening is eventually all of these seeds will fall, and they will fall on the ground, and then they will decide when it's time to germinate, and you'll find that you get a lot of volunteer seed, or a lot of volunteer plants from the seeds. And that's always nice too, because when a plant comes up of its own accord, it will oftentimes pick the right time to germinate, and sometimes it seems to me like they will actually grow better because of the fact that it's germinated at the time the seed thinks is the best, and not necessarily when you plant it. Right, so that's how I'm going to collect my seeds from my lettuce. And that's a good one right now, because like I said, if your climate is anything close to mine, what will have happened by now is that most of your plants have completely died, and the seed is dried out and ready to go for harvesting. So with just a few minutes, I've collected probably what you would get in a bag of seeds, or I don't want to say an envelope of seeds. All right. And I got a fair amount of seed there, you can see. Alright, so it's not real hard, it can be done fairly quickly, and we're going to set these aside for now. Now, one of the issues with collecting your own seeds can be cross-pollination. So you can see over here on this side I have some Merlot lettuce, and here I have the black-seeded Simpson. Will they cross-pollinate? I mean, I don't know. That's a possibility. Alright, so that is something else you might want to consider, but if it's not really a problem for you, if I get some purple tinged black-seeded Simpson, or if I get some slightly greener Merlot lettuce, it's really not going to hurt my feelings. Alright, but now I will say this though: if you're going to collect seeds to sell, you need to really keep track of your varieties, and you also need to keep track of well, you need to keep them separated to a certain extent so that you don't get a lot of cross-pollination, because people are going to want to get what they bought, and if you don't have a good isolation program going on, you might get some cross-pollination going. Now, another really good thing to harvest this time of year is radish seed. So I've let these grow up and kind of die back, and you can see within that pod, I can pop that pod open. So just within that one pod, I've got 8 seeds. All right. Now once again, I just dropped some. Once again, you know, you want to try and make sure that you know which variety you have, unless it doesn't matter to you. Because like I've got white radish seed, I've got French breakfast seed, radish seed, I've got red radish, globe radish, I've got daikon radish. So you want to keep track of what type of seed you're getting from what plant, and then then you know what you're planting. If it matters. If it doesn't matter to you, throw them all in one bag and just plant radish and see what you get. All right. I don't recommend it necessarily. I like to have what I know is in the bag, but that's entirely up to you. And again, one of the nice things about having your own seeds is that I can go ahead and just crunch them up and let them fall where they will. And I actually harvested a bunch of daikon radish seed, and let me show you how that worked out. So I know daikon radish and regular radish is normally a fall or spring crop, but when I was harvesting my seeds, and I had a bunch of daikons all throughout here, a few of them dropped and fell on the floor, and when that happened, a lot of them grew, and so now you can see I've got a ton of these daikon radishes growing just volunteer. All right, they just spring up wherever, and I've actually gotten some decent sized ones. I'm not quite ready yet, but as they get a little bigger, I'll be able to actually eat some of these throughout the summertime, which the daikons, I was really surprised. I really didn't figure they would sprout and grow until the fall. Now, you don't have to harvest anything. What you can do is just allow the seeds to do their natural thing. And if you can see here, this is a dill head. Now, dill seed is great for making pickles. A lot of times they just tell you to use the dill seed itself instead of a sprig of fresh dill. But you can take these seeds and either just leave them there and let them fall where they will, or you can take and sprinkle them like so, and then next year when the season is right and the seeds feel the inclination to do so, you'll have a ton of dill that will just volunteer in this spot. And in fact, you can also do that with lettuce. Just take and crunch things up a little bit, let them fall where they will, and next year, as this soil gets turned over by various different processes, either me putting compost or mulch on it, or just the natural rain and all of that, more and more of this will get down into the soil. And instead of having a weed seed bank where you got a bunch of weeds that are growing up in your garden, what you'll find is the weeds, which really, weeds are just seeds that sprouted that you hadn't planned on sprouting. So rather than having weeds grow, you probably have a lot of the volunteers actually turn out to be food crops. Alright, so that's how I'm going to go about harvesting some seeds. This time of year, your lettuce should have gotten big and started to die back. Your dill should have gotten big and started to die back. Cilantro should have gotten big and started to die back, all of which will have seeds that you can collect. And then you can take those seeds and save for next year, or actually, I'll be planting a lot of this in the fall. So you can save it for the fall and have plenty of seed without having to go out and spend money on your seeds. Alright, that's one way I go about saving money in my garden, and also hopefully to improve it. One last thing I will tell you is when you go ahead and get rid of these plants, because that's part of why I'm doing this, is I want the plants to get removed. Rather than pulling them out, I will cut them off at ground level, so that basically what ends up happening is the roots that are, there from the plant will rot down in the soil and thereby improve the soil. Alright, so thanks once again for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe and let me know what you think. But most importantly, grow some. And keep in mind, growing things also includes growing the seed that you need for the next year. So save your seeds, and you can save a lot of money when it comes to gardening. Alright, thanks once again. Y'all come back and see me.